to Legally Unwrapped, the podcast where we analyze shows and movies from a legal perspective. I'm your cinematic counsel, Bricanna Rochette, and I'm here with my co-cinematic counsel and fellow friend, Rick Frank from Photo Law, who specializes in criminal law. We have been able to work and win on a recent case, and we thought, hey, what the heck? We make a pretty good team. So let's tackle analyzing the Menendez Brothers case, a true crime that still raises complex questions decades later. Hi, Frank. Hi, Frank. That's your stage name. No. Hi, Rick. Thanks for being here.
It's the two first names things. It happens a lot. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about this case with you today.
The Menendez brothers are Eric and Lyle. Eric is the younger and Lyle is the older one. Essentially, they killed their parents, Jose and Kitty. They're two rich white kids who killed their parents. All of the things that unfold because of that. After sentencing, they were sent to separate prisons immediately. So for people who spent their lives together, both in trauma and in trial, this separation would have made prison life so much more isolating. And despite the fact that, their parents, they're saying that, my father abused me, my mother knew about it and didn't do anything to stop it, right? Like that's an important factor because the prosecution kept bringing up, I'm still here and fighting for them to stay in because of that woman, that poor woman who got killed. And it's when you don't protect your children from abuse, you are abusive. That's what I believe. And I think that's a lot of people will agree with me when I say that. Despite all of this, you hear how Eric and Lyle still speak in some aspects about their parents in a positive way. And they still miss their parents. There's still some level of love for these parents that they killed. So they're still grieving in their own way. They're not really able to do that together. And they're not really able to do that in prison because then it becomes a whole other survival situation. It just becomes so isolating, and prison's already so isolating. And recently they were finally allowed to be in the same facility, but for over 20 years, they faced their sentence apart. Any thoughts?
I think it calls into question what we as society view prison to be about. Prison is a punishment because it deprives you of your liberty. It is meant to make sure that you don't get to go out like you used to anymore. You've lost that right because you committed a crime. And that's the purpose of prison. It also is supposed to be rehabilitative so that if you get out, and when you get out, especially in Canada, we don't have life without parole. When you get out, we want to make sure that you're not the same person you came in here as. The issues that you were dealing with that led you down this path, whether it's kind of deliberate malice that you had, or trauma that you had, we need to address that root cause. But we've seen more often, and we're more attuned to it, that prisons are punishment, not just by depriving you of your liberty, but of being punishing in other ways. And that's what happened with these brothers. They were being deprived of that psychological familial connection. They didn't have other people really in their life who can kind of step in and fill that role. They had one another. And we'll talk a little bit more later about their relationship with one another. That was the support system that they had. And so for them to survive and be rehabilitated in a functional way, they need one another. So when you think about, well, why would they not put them in the same prison? Are we concerned about them committing other offenses? Surely not. So it's really just to punish them further and say, not only do you get your liberty deprived, we're also going to deprive you of your psychological safety. That's what prison has become, and that's really problematic.
And just to illustrate for our viewers how odd and unusual it is to separate family members in the same prison. Back when I was doing articling in a criminal defense firm in Toronto, we had a client who had other family members in the same jail. And for Christmas, the guards actually put them in the same cell so that they could enjoy one familial meal together. That, of course, helps their morale in such an isolating environment, sometimes dangerous environment like the prison system can be. But also it reminds them that there's a reason that they need to be on good behavior, because if they want more of these things to occur, it can be used as an incentive. And not only just for rehabilitation, but if you want to actually keep a prison safe, I would actually suggest that it's better to put families together, because you're bringing them that familial contact for them to say, okay, well, if I'm on good behavior and I don't cause any problems in my my cell. I'm not going to cause problems in my range. I'm going to be respectful. And maybe because I'm being respectful and being kind to my fellow inmates, the guards will do something to reward me for that. That's what happened. Why are we using these psychological tactics when there's positive reinforcement that could be used instead? And we know psychology has proven time and time again that negative reinforcement will never outweigh the good that positive reinforcement does.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is what I've been reading. This is what I've been told. I tend to believe that route a little bit more.
And this concludes part 2 of the Menendez Brothers case with Rick Frank and Burkana Rochette. Tune in for part 3 on Monday, December the 9th, 2024.